Hi guys, today we are going to be making Parker and the Porch's Pocket Keeper Zipper Bag. So we are gonna go ahead and get started. I'm making the 5x7 size. It's right here. I have my hoop and this is tearaway stabilizer. And I'm gonna go ahead and run step 1, which is the placement stitches. Right here, here's your step up here. It's the placement stitches for your fabric and your zipper. So I'm going to go ahead and run that directly on my tearaway, and I will come back and show you what that looks like. Okay guys, this is what it looks like. Here's your placement stitches for the fabrics, and then also these 3 lines are your placement stitches for the zipper. So all you need to do is get your zipper. I have a 9-inch zipper that I am using for this bag because this is a 5x7 bag. And what you need to decide, if you want it to open from the top to the bottom, then go ahead and put your zipper pull on this side. If you want it to open from the bottom to the top, then you place your zipper pull on this side. I'm going to do it this way. I want it to open from the top. Now, the way that you place the zipper is there's 2 lines here. You just put it between the 2 lines evenly, and you should get a really good placement that way. If you're doing any, Jen's really great. She has these where you don't have to look underneath. But if you're doing another file that doesn't have it exactly like this, where it matches up perfectly on either side, you can use, the other way to do it is you have the zipper teeth from the underneath. This is where the opening is. Oops, sorry. This is where the opening is right here. You can line that opening up with the middle line right here. So you just go ahead and place it like that, and then you line it up down the center, and then you know that the next step, where it's going to tack the zipper down, it will be equal distance from the zipper on either side if you have the teeth matched up to that middle line. Jen's really good about making this the exact size, so you don't have to look underneath because it's a little more effort to do that. But if you're ever in a file that doesn't have it matching exactly, then definitely match up the back of the middle teeth to that middle line, and you'll get your best placement. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch the next step, and it's basically going to do 2 tack down stitches on either side of the teeth of the zipper to attach it to the stabilizer. So I'm going to go ahead and run that, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Hi guys. Okay, we're going to start placing the fabric on the zipper front, and we're going to do the liner at the same time. So this is the front of my hoop, and we are going to place this top portion, and you will see this on the front of your bag, so make sure you're picking, this is the fabric that's going to show underneath your pouch. So go ahead, or pocket, whatever you call it. So go ahead and pick that fabric. You are going to be cutting it. Jen's instructions tell you to cut a piece of fabric 1.15 inches by 7.5 inches. I went ahead and cut it by 1.5 by 8 just because I don't like to measure all small. And then you're also going to cut one piece that's going to be on the top like this, that size. You're going to cut one piece that's that size that's going to be your liner. We're placing these at the same time. So it's going to be on the back for this top portion. That's going to be the liner. So you're going to want to get 2 pieces of fabric, cut to 1.15 by 7.50, or like I did, 1.5 by 8. And then you're also going to need to cut a piece of interfacing. This is going to make your pouch the right thickness. So I use right here, I use fusible interfacing. This is lightweight fusible interfacing, and I'll have links in the bottom like always. I went ahead and cut a piece. This is what it looks like. There's a rough side, and then there's a soft side, and I went ahead and cut a piece that same size, just one. You're going to put it on the front. So I went ahead and took it. You take your rough side, you place it on the wrong side of your fabric, and then you iron it, and it adheres to your fabric, and it just makes it a little thicker. So it's really neat stuff. You don't need to do it on your liner. You just have a piece for that. So I already did that. And then now what we're going to do is place it on here. And we are going to be placing the right side side of your fabric down, because when it's going to do one stitch line up here and you're going to fold it over like that. So we want to place the wrong side down, and I'm just going to, or the right side down, sorry. I'm going to place it like that. And this is on the top, remember. I'm actually going to place the liner first. So I'm going to flip this over. This is the bottom of your hoop, the underneath of your hoop. You are going to place the right side onto the stabilizer. So here's the right side. You're going to place it like this, just over the stitch lines right here. Just going to go ahead and place it like that. Okay? And you're going to want it to just place right at the edge here, because you're going to fold this. You can place it like right here, because the line's going to be right here. So you go ahead and do this, and you're gonna, that's gonna fold over like that. So you want it placed like this. And I'm gonna go ahead and take some tape, because this is underneath our hoop. It won't stay if you don't tape it. Okay. So I'm just gonna tape these two sides. Okay. And then this is the bottom of your, underneath of your hoop, remember? And then I'm going to go ahead and flip it over. And then I'm going to bring it over to the machine, because I don't tape the top. I can just use my hands. So it's going to be like that. And then we're going to go ahead and stitch the next step. It's going to stitch one line, and then we're going to fold this over. So I will go to my machine, stitch the next step, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, I am back. It went ahead and stitched it, so you can see that it's stitched, it's tacked down up here. So you have like that fabric. So now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to flip this up, make it all pretty how you want it. So I'm just making a crease right here with my hands. And then I'm not going to tape this side. You can choose to tape here and here, because next it's going to stitch this whole thing down. But I'm going to hold that since this is the top of my hoop. Let's go back here and take this tape off, because we need to do the same thing back here. You can use the same piece of tape, so I'm just going to hold it. There's my tape. Now you're going to flip this up. Okay. You're going to make the fabric kind of tight, so because it's going to stitch over this. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Place my tape right there. And I'm going to do the same, make sure it's all taut. I'm going to tape right there. I'm just making sure it's like taut, so you don't have any like ripples in your, okay? So you see what I did? I just folded it up, and then I just taped both sides. Next it's going to stitch this down, so you're going to want that. I'm actually probably going to do one more piece of tape in this middle to hold it kind of tight. I'm just going to tape it onto my hoop rim right there, okay? So this is the bottom underneath of your hoop, so we just folded the fabric back up like that. This is the top of our hoop right here, and I'm just going to hold it like this while it goes through the next step. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. And like I said, it's just going to do the rest of the tack down. Okay guys, here we are. We are ready to place the pocket, and I'll show you how I prep that fabric in a second. But the pocket is going to go down here, this area in the bottom, and this is the fabric that's going to show the most. So pick the fabric that you want on top to show the most. Now there's no placement stitch for the pocket, so what you need to do, your step 5 already has the needle where it's going to start coming down right here onto your fabric. So you need to mark where that needle's starting. It's already there. The machine's going to have it in that spot. So all I did is make a little mark right there with my pin. Do you see that little green mark? I just brought my needle down a little bit. You can control your needle with this. You can bring it up or down. So I just brought it down a little bit so I can see exactly where it's going to hit. And then I just marked a little line right there. And that is where I'm going to place the top of my pocket. And I will show you that, but I just wanted to go ahead and show you. Go ahead and mark your spot right by your needle. And then I'm going to bring you over to show you how to prep the pocket fabric. Okay guys, I'm going to show you the fabric. So I'm going to bring this up close. You can see that I have a little line right here. That's where I'm going to line the pocket up to. So you need to cut a piece of fabric 5 by 12. Here's my piece of fabric. Now this is going to show the most, so pick your pretty fabric. It's going to be kind of like this. And your pocket's going to be like right here. The folded edge is going to be where your pocket is right here. So if you're doing directional fabric, you cut 5 by 12, but it's actually going to be lining up this way. So there's your edge. So you need a 5 by 12 piece of fabric, and you need a 5 by 12 piece of interfacing. I've already ironed mine on, and I showed you how to do that with this one. So I have it all folded and ready to go, and what I'm going to do is this is going to fold over as well. So you are going to take your fabric and you are going to put it on the edge like this. Right here. So you're just going to have, it's going to stitch this line right here where your other place, where your tack down line is for your zipper. So you're just going to have a little bit extra over here of your pocket so it catches everywhere. You don't want it to not catch. So, and then you're going to line it up with that line. So if you just go like this, you could tape it down if you want, and then it is going to stitch a line down here, and then you are going to fold it over like this, if that makes sense. So go ahead and line that up, and you could pick whichever side you want. Remember, whichever side's on the bottom is what's going to be facing on top. So if I like the butterflies on this side better, then place it this way, like that. Or if I like the other side, make sure you're doing the opposite. So this is going to go right here. It's going to stitch a line down here, and then you're going to fold it over like this. So this is what's going to show on the front. So go ahead and line that up. You can tape or hold, and then it's going to do stitch the next step, which is going to do a line right here. I'll come back and show you what that looks like. Okay guys, this is what it looks like. We went ahead and did the tack down of our pocket. It's going to eventually fold over like this, and it will have a little pocket right here. It won't be put down, but right now we're not putting this down yet. Make sure your fabric's still over here, because you see we have this fabric right here. We did these steps. We're going to do the same steps for the underneath right here. So we need to do that before we fold this over. So we're going to leave this fabric over here. Make sure it stays there. Now you need to go ahead and cut 2 more pieces of fabric. This fabric, if you're going to have this, it's going to show right here. So whatever you want this fabric to be, I use the same polka dot. And then you also need to cut your liner as well. So I'm going to cut this fabric, and I'm going to cut this fabric, and you need to cut it by 5.5 by 7.5. I always cut it a little bit bigger because I don't want to have to be barely making it, but you can do whatever you like. The instructions say 5.5 by 7.5, so that will be sufficient. So once you cut that fabric, now the other thing is if you have directional fabric, if this is directional fabric, know that it's going to sit like this. So this is the 7.5 and this is the 5.5. So it's ultimately going to be laying like this. So if you have directional fabric, keep that in mind. But I don't. And then you're also going to have to cut a piece of interfacing for that 5 by 5 by 7.5 size. I already went ahead and put it on here. So it's on this top piece. You don't put it on the liner. This is liner. So I already have it ironed on right here. So what we're going to do next is similar to what we've been doing, we did up here. We're going to go ahead and place this right side of the fabric down facing the stabilizer, and you are going to go ahead and just place it. This line right here that you see, this placement line, that's where it's going to stitch. So you just want to make sure that your fabric is over that. You want to make sure that your fabric is bigger than this as well, because it's going to stitch right here, and then it's going to fold over. Once that line is stitched, it's going to fold over like that, and then your pocket's going to fold over that. Do you see what we're doing there? That's what it's ultimately going to do. So we just need to get this on there. But I'm going to put that on in a second. Let's do the back. This is the front of the hoop. Since I have to tape, let's flip it over and do the same thing with the back. So what you want to do, I have that fabric right here. You're going to want to do the right side of the fabric facing down on the stabilizer. Excuse me. And you are going to want to place it right over this stitch line right here. Right there. And then once it stitches, it's going to come all the way down here. Like that. And then your zipper is going to come through there. So that's how you're going to want to place it. So I'm going to go ahead and place that and tape it. And then we will, I just want to make sure I have the right line. So this is the line that's stitching right here. So I'm going to line it up with this line right here. Okay, so down this, I'm going to go like that, just over that line. So we have enough fabric, and then I'm going to tape it down, tape this down. Okay, and we're going to want to make sure that this doesn't get folded under when you put it back on your hoop. So you have it like that. See, it's still up, and then you're going to do this the same way. You could tape it if you like, but it's going to be the same line. Okay, and then when this is going to stitch a line straight down, and then this will fold over and the back will fold over as well. So I will come back and show you what that looks like. Okay guys, this is what it will look like. This is tacked down, you can see, and then you come to the back, that's tacked down as well. That will go like that. So we can take this tape off now. Let's take this tape off. I don't know why I have this tape still. Okay. And then you now want to fold this down, and you kind of want to get it taut, like I said before. That's there. Okay, because it is going to stitch down here. It's going to stitch the rest of the tack down for this fabric. So just get it smooth and how you like it, and then just go ahead and tape it on either side. Okay. However you want it. Okay, I'm going to tape down here. Okay, so that's how that's going to look. So let's flip it over, and now we can do it on this side as well. This is the top of your hoop. So you're going to fold this fabric down, and I'm going to go ahead and get it how I want it and tape it. I'm just going to tape this since we have multiple layers. Okay, I'm just going to tape the top, and I'll tape the bottom. Okay, now this is where you want to pull your pocket over too. So your pocket's coming over with it. Okay, and you could tape this if you want. I'm just going to hold it like this when it stitches the next step. So the next step is going to go ahead and complete this tack down, and it's going to tack down this bottom and the top and the pocket all at once. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, this is what it looks like. It's super cute. The pocket's right here. You can see you can put stuff in that pocket. We are going to talk about fold over elastic now. If you don't want to attach this to a planner band and you just want a zipper pouch that has a zipper bag that has a pouch, you don't need to do this next step. I'm going to add over fold over elastic. People call it faux, F-O-E. It is really just pretty stretchy elastic, and I'm going to use this color. It's super pretty. Measuring for your fold over elastic, Jen gave a measurement of 11 and she wrote what that fits. You might have different sizes of stuff, so I'm going to actually show you how I calculate it so you can make your zipper pouch, I never say it right, the pocket zipper pouch fit whatever you want it to fit. And I showed this a couple places on some other things as well, but I'm going to do it now for this tutorial so you don't have to go find a different one. So I cut 2 pieces of this. You could do 1. This is going to be kind of heavier or bulkier, especially if you're putting stuff in here. So I'm going to do 2. You'll have 2 here. Excuse me. And there's not placements for 2, but they do have tack downs for 2 in this file, Jen's file. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on this regular size notebook, and I'm going to show you how I calculated how big to make my fold over elastic. So I went ahead and measured, and this one is a little more than 9.5, so I just went with 9.5. It's a little bigger, but this fold over elastic stretches, so I'm just going with 9.5. And this right here, you want to take whatever your design is. This is your design. This works for any of her pocket bands. You measure how big your design's going to be, because that's going to go over the front of this notebook. So this design is 7 inches. So you know that you don't need 7 inches of this fold over elastic. So I basically take 9.5, which is the size of my item that I'm trying to fit it on. I minus the design size, which this is 7. So I get 2.5. So 2.5 is how much fold over elastic I need for this front. But then it goes over the whole back. So I need to add the 9.75 back in. So if I take the full back, 9.75, plus the 2.5 that you need here, it will give you the measurement of how much fold over elastic that you need. And so I get 12. Depending on how thick this is right here, see, you're going to need space for this too. This doesn't really matter because it's just so small. But if you were doing something really thick, you need to keep that in account too. You want to add that in as well. This isn't very thick, so I don't necessarily care about it, but just know if you're doing something thick, you need to add that into your calculation as well. And then I normally subtract like 1 inch, because you don't want it to be all floppy, so you don't want it to be exact. You want it to pull and stretch and fit and be kind of tighter. So I go ahead and measure this distance minus the design, this whole distance, add those two together. I add this distance as well if it's really thick. If it's not, I ignore it. And then I subtract 1. And you're going to lose a little more as well when you're placing it, because when I place this, you know, you're going to lose that little top right there too. So you can subtract less if you want, if you feel like you need a little more, but that's kind of how I calculate it. That's a rough way of calculating it. So I went ahead and cut these to 11, and we're going to go ahead and place them. That's just how I calculate any of them. So you don't have to rely on the instructions and it doesn't fit because you're using a different size notebook or planner or whatever you're putting this on. So I'm going to bring this back to the machine. And basically your foot on the next step is going to be in the middle of where it's going to tack this down. So you need to just place the middle of your fold over elastic to wherever your needle is right now. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it over there, and I will show you what I mean. Okay guys, we are on the step 8 where we're going to put the fold over elastic on to the bag. And like I said before, your needle, there's no placement stitch, but your needle is in the right place. So if you can see where the needle is, you can put your thing up and down and see. You need to put the long part there. You need to do the wrong side facing up. See how this is the pretty side facing down, the wrong side facing up. See how well I can do this with one hand. Okay, so you just need to put it, let me get it, there we go. Put it where it's in the middle of your fold over elastic, and make sure your fold over elastic, let me show you it here. Oops, sorry, I'm trying to get the camera angle. Make sure your fold over elastic, let me pull this out, is past those stitches. You see? Okay, so right here, your stitches. Make sure that it goes a little bit past those stitches, because it's going to just make a line right over the top of this. So you see how there's that little crease right there in the middle? That's the middle of your fold over elastic. So make sure your needle goes down where that middle is, and make sure you have enough excess of the fold over elastic on this side of those stitches, and then put all your excess in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and run step 8, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay guys, this is what it looks like. It went ahead and stitched it down. You can see it's down. It's the stitches there. Now, and then here's your excess right here. So you want to keep that over there. Now we're going to do the next one on this side right here. So I have the pretty side facing down, the wrong side facing up. I have the needle centered with the center of the fold over elastic, and I made sure the fold over elastic is a little bit over the stitch line right here. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch step 9. I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, here you go. You can see that it's stitched. It only stitches part of it right here. It doesn't need to go all the way across because when you put the top of the bag on, it's going to go around the whole bag. So it doesn't matter. It's just holding it in place is what it's doing. So that's good. So now we're going to do this other side. I just kind of folded the excess out of the way, making sure not to flip this. Make sure you keep it straight. So you're still wrong side facing up. You got it going a little bit over those stitch lines right there. And you need to center it with your needle. See how there's a center right there? And then I'm going to go ahead and run step 10. I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, it went ahead and stitched it down. You can see it there. I'm going to do the same thing for right here. Get it centered with your needle. Make sure you didn't get it folded over in any way. So the right side, the pretty side is facing down. Wrong side is facing up. And just make sure you get a little bit past those stitch lines right here. And then go ahead and run step 11. Okay guys, this is what it looks like. We have it all done. You have your fold over elastic attached. Now we are going to go ahead, and the next step is to put the back of the bag on. So whenever you put the back goes on top like this. Whenever you do that, it's going to seal the bag. So in any zipper bag, when you're ready to put the back on, you need to open your zipper. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm just folding these over, and I'm going to kind of like tape them out of the way because you don't want those to get stuck in the stitching. So I'm just going to like tape this down just so it stays out of the way. Okay, you're going to open your zipper. You have to open the zipper, else you won't be able to turn your bag and you'll have to throw your bag away. So I open it pretty much as far as I can over to these stitch lines over here. Your stitch lines. I open it as far as I can, but so the foot can still get by here. You don't want your embroidery foot hitting the zipper, but you want it open as far as you can because you're going to flip through this hole later on. So if you just made a little small hole, it's going to be really hard to flip. So make it easy on yourself. Pull the zipper all the way over. Put that over there so your foot doesn't hit it, but that it's open. The other thing I'm going to add that the design doesn't talk about is I'm going to add a little pen holder right here so the pen can be held on the side of the bag. You can just put it in this pocket if that's what everyone's going to use the pocket for, probably, but you could put a pen holder here too, so I'm just going to show you. It's just another thing you can do. So I just got more fold over elastic right here, and I'm just seeing about how big you need it for a pen to fit in here. So about that big. I'm going to do the pretty side folded out. So there's the wrong side. Here's the pretty side. I'm going to take some tape, and you tape the loop part. So I have it looped, see, like that. You tape that on the inside wherever you want it. I'm going to put it on this side of the bag, and I think I want it right about here. So I'm going to just, and you want the loop to be about as big as it needs to be for a pen to fit in there. So you got to do that, and then I'm just going to tape it like that right next to the stitch line. So the next step is going to stitch all the way around these stitch lines that you see. So anything that you put, it's going to stitch right along these lines, and then this will be in there so you can put a pen on it. Okay, so I got that. I got the zipper open. I added that. If you want to add anything else at this point, this is where you add it. You can do like a dangly thing or whatever you want that you want to be included in your bag needs to happen now. But that's all I'm adding. So now I'm going to take the right side of my fabric and I'm going to face it down. So right sides together, and now I'm just going to make sure that I get over all these placement lines because that's where it's going to stitch. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to take this over to my machine and I'm going to stitch step 12, and it's just going to stitch all the way around this design. I'll come back and show you what that looks like. Hi guys, okay, here it is. We have it completely stitched all the way around. The reason you need to open your zipper is because this is stitched. You have to flip through your zipper right here. Sorry, right here. You have to flip through your zipper, and that's why you open your zipper. So here we go. Here's the front. Now we're going to go ahead and put the liner on the back. So flip to the underneath side of your hoop. You're going to take your fabric and you're going to do right sides together. Make sure that you watch your placement stitching. You want it to go over your placement stitching. Now I kind of line it up close to the top, just like right here, just so you have enough that covers those stitch lines, but I leave more at the bottom because this is where your hole is going to be, and you're going to have to flip through here and glue. I'll show you how to do it, but I leave more fabric on this side than this side when I place this fabric. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just tape this down because this is the underside of your hoop, and again this fabric is right sides together. Okay, now I'm going to go over to my machine and I'm going to stitch step 13, which is the last stitch step. I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, we have the back stitched on, the front stitched on. We're completely done, so we can take it off our hoop now. Okay. Now I take the tearaway stabilizer off, so I'm just going to tear it all the way around, just to get it out of my way. Okay, and then I'm going to take some heavy duty scissors. I have these. These are a stainless steel pair of Singer scissors. So I'm going to go ahead, and I got this off of Amazon. I think I have the link on there or something similar. So I'm going to go ahead and cut. We are going to cut all the way. You can see that this left an opening right here. There's no stitches right there. There's an opening. We're going to flip through this hole and then we're going to close it. So you're going to want to leave a little bit of fabric down here. So I always start cutting right here just so I don't mess it up. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut at an angle like this, just to like that stitch line right there. Okay, and then I'm just going to cut all the way around my bag. I kind of angle the corners so the corners turn a little bit better. You need heavy duty scissors because this cuts through that excess zipper. I angle that corner and I'm going to keep cutting. Okay. Angle the corner here, and then I have this side too, so I can cut this like this so we have the excess. Okay, and get all this fabric off. And now this is going to be kind of bulky if you leave all this here. All you need is the liner. Sorry, I moved all that. I'm going to look here. You have all this excess stuff here still. All you really need is these two liner pieces because that's what you're going to fold in and tape. So I cut all this other excess off. So I'm going to move these two liners here, and then I'm going to cut all this bulky stuff off so it's not in our way. And just be careful not to cut the stitches. There you go. Okay, so you have your two liner pieces here. There's your hole, front, back. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and flip this now. You're just going to open this up and you're just going to carefully push the bag through. And I'm just going to go over here and get the corner. These aren't too hard to flip because this is made out of woven fabric. Flipping vinyl's a little bit harder, but this isn't that bad. You just slowly do it and it comes right through. Now you don't have to get it too clean and pushed through because we need to flip it one more time. So you really just want to get it flipped good enough that we can close this hole. So I'm going to focus more on this bottom part, getting it a little good. The top doesn't really matter because we're going to flip it again. But here's your hole, and this is at the bottom of your bag. So what I do, I use a glue, and I'm going to go get it real quick. I didn't have it over here, sorry. But I push these through. This is why I leave excess fabric, because it makes it easier to push this through. You're going to kind of sandwich it. So I have that go through, I push that through, and then I sandwich this like this, and I glue it. So I'm going to go get my glue, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, I use this glue. You can sew this with a ladder stitch if you want to sew it, if you don't want to use glue. I just use glue. It's at the bottom of your bag and in the inside, so you don't really see it, you don't feel it. This is clear glue. It's a fabric glue. It's called fabric tack. And I just get this all lined up, get where I want it to be sandwiched, and then I go ahead and I just place some of this glue here. It'll take a couple seconds for it to come down. Sorry, I had it kind of ready, but then I turned it back over. Okay, here it comes. So I just put a little bit of this glue. You can see that it's clear right along the edge. And then I just fold them together, and I take one of these little clips. You can use anything you want, but I use these little clips. And I just clip it together. And then I just move to the next little spot, put some more glue, sandwich it together, clip it, and then I just keep going all the way across. The other thing that's nice about this glue is it dries super quick. Like, you can work with this again in just a few minutes. I let it sit like 2 to 3 minutes, and that's it. And if you get any excess, like if there's goo right there, I just take my finger and wipe it off. It's fine. It's clear. So I just don't leave it sitting there, but I wipe it off because this glue's kind of gloppy. I'm just going to make sure I get this a little bit better. All the way to the edge. Yep, and then I do that, and I'm just going to wipe off any excess. Oops, I don't have any more clips. I'm just going to scoot this over. Okay, so there we go. We have it glued and clipped. I'm going to let that sit for like 3 minutes, and then I will come back and show you how we flip it through the zipper. Okay guys, it's been about 3 minutes. I'm going to pull these off. You can see that this is all sealed closed. It's nice, straight. So now we're going to flip through the zipper. This is the zipper spot, so I'm just going to kind of take this fabric and pull, because there's a hole here. See, there's, now if you didn't have your zipper open, this one pull open, you wouldn't be flipping your bag again. It would just be inside out. So I'm going to pull this stuff off. That was a placement stitch, so it feels like you're breaking your bag, but you're really not. You're supposed to pull that off. I'm just getting all this extra stabilizer out of here so it's nice and clean. So just clean up your bag right here by the zipper. Okay, almost done. Tweezers could probably help here too. These pieces are kind of small and they don't like to tear in big strips, unfortunately. Okay. Okay, that's clean enough. Okay, so we got all that stabilizer off. Now we're going to flip again through this zipper. So I'm just going to put my finger down here, push there, and I just push it through. And get all this excess tape off. Okay. And now you're just going to want to turn your bag. Okay. just using my finger. I do have this little bias tape turner tool that I use a lot on these corners, which I'm going to get real quick because it helps get the corners turned. So I have like this. It's just, this came from a turning system, but you could just buy like a chopstick or something, or like the end of a pencil eraser. Just be careful not to poke this through your fabric, but I just kind of help get the little tips of the corners out a little better. Okay, just so it's a little cleaner. Okay, this one. Okay, last corner. Okay, and then I'm going to just zip it up. You can see that this is the inside, super pretty, no seams, really nice. I'm going to zipper that up and try to flatten it out a little bit. See, that corner's still kind of icky. Let me get that one a little better. Here we go. The corners, yep, they're better. Okay, now you're just going to kind of flatten it out. Okay. Now you can see, that's super cute. Let me get our notebook that we were working with. Okay, you can see that you have your fold-over elastic here. We have our pen holder right here. You have your pocket right here. You have your zipper. These are super cute. Super easy to make once you make one. Hopefully this video will help. Okay, see? And it's perfect. It's just the right stretch so it isn't floppy, but it's not too tight. It's not bending the notebook. Let's get it the way I want it. Okay. Now I'd probably go over and just iron this real quick so it's just a little cleaner, just because I like to do that. Okay, but there you are. Let's get our pen. Our pen goes in there like that. You can put it up further, how you want to do this, that. And then you can put little sticky notes in here if you want. Maybe even this, this phone's kind of bulky, but if you have the smaller phone, the phone fits in there. This is an iPhone. That's a little heavy though. You see how it, oops, let me move that up a little bit. It's a little heavy, but it fits in there. And then, again, you have your zipper. You can put whatever you want in there as well. So there you go. You are all done with the pocket zipper pouch, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it helps you. It's super easy to do, super fast. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll keep making more tutorials.